Hello ladies and gentlemen, and welcome back to Empires of Steel, episode 12 for this series. And we're coming in on a close victory here. We're going to keep going along here. It looks like we need to put some research up. Let's see. Guess we'll go for the Cruiser Class 5. Basic research for stealth technology. Go for strategic bombers and maybe some cruise missiles here. Oh, that might all come in handy. And I see they're pushing up here this way. I do got a force coming that way, as well as some bombers are going to go kind of scout it out, see if they can't finish up whatever's coming this way. And I saw that they did do some bombing here. Bang Dung is under our control now, but not after what was a pretty bloody battle to capture that. It does have a barracks already. Let's get a radar and a factory and a nuclear power plant. And then we're just going to leave all our troops there to heal up because they definitely need it. As for this scout plane, let's finish kind of scouting here and just seeing what is in store for us for the rest of this territory here. Because it does look like we do have a lot left to capture. And for this force, we're going to send them up here on top of that base there, I think. Or maybe let's actually route them back up to Boston and get them some of those additional troops that are there. Couple more bombers, do some bombing here. Artillery piece that's moving down. What else do we got? Okay, he's gonna go capture all of that. I never did find those satellites. I bet there's somewheres. Speaking of satellites, I should have, let's see, let's upgrade all possible units. Satellites are probably somewheres. I don't know. I don't know where the that's kind of cool. Some screens here I've never really messed around with. I just never really found any. I could see how maybe in like a multiplayer battle, if you had all the time in the world, because you know you're waiting for somebody to take your turn, you could kind of mess around with that stuff. But since the computer's already doing everything for the most part, I just don't see any reason for me to mess around with some of that stuff. As it's just not really important to me. I don't really know how to mess around with the satellites. I wish there was a way to know, but I just don't. Just don't have any clue there. Oh, the spy plane there was shot down by something. It was a brutal shot down too. That was pretty rough. Okay, we've captured Shanghai. Let's get a radar, factory, Air Force Base, nuclear power plant. That force pretty much went through there uncontested, so let's route them back down. Boy, let's get another spy plane out. That's definitely what we need. What are you producing here? Some artillery. Let's get rid of one piece of artillery and get a spy plane out there ASAP. As for both of these, I guess we'll send them to Cairo. Where is my artillery? I've got some artillery here. Let's send this artillery to Cairo, see if we can't do some bombing here. These guys are going to have to chase all the way up this way. It's going to be a little frustrating chasing all these guys out of here, but not too much of an issue. And we'll go back and keep doing some bombing. I saw that we did bomb those guys there. They're about to try to enter a city, which I'm definitely not going to put up with that. That's going to be more than frustrating if they get inside one of these cities and take them, because I'm going to have to route some forces around to deal with that. So let's go up there and bomb them. Oh, our destroyer was taken out. What appears to be a group of submarines. These are some really powerful submarines. Only class 3s, but they are able to take out pretty much any of these class 4 destroyers I got rolling out of here. Kind of frustrating. Might build a freaking nuke and just blow them out of the water, because at this point this is getting the naval battle portion is getting more than frustrating for me. Let's move this into Cairo, as well as this artillery unit, because I need to get these ships bombed out. Holy crap. What do they got going on here? It looks like they just got a bunch of I don't even know. A bunch of satellites and stuff sitting on here. That's not good at all. Some planes, some spy planes. Lots of medium-range missiles. So that's probably what shot my spy plane out of the air there. All right, we've got an infantry unit with that. Let's move them down this way. Let's move this down here. And let's move this unit down this way. See what we've got. All our forces moving in here. Okay, Santiago. There's another city there. And as for Cairo, get me a spy plane. Another spy plane. More artillery. And Houston, you're about to build a shipyard. Freaking get me 2 destroyers. Okay, as for Cairo, we got a small unit of tanks here. Nothing too crazy. Let's go down to Shenyang with those. About to be in range here. He's already taken out some of that stuff. Let's keep it that way. Maybe. Or I guess enter Cairo and then we'll deal with that. Yikes, these cities are all captured. That is kind of frustrating. I guess move this and this in this way, especially because I can't let them produce any units there. It's going to be a problem if they do. As for these guys, can I get them all to join at once? No. I've tried to do that before. It never works, but I always still try anyways. I could reroute this force up that way. It would take them a while to get there. I'm better off just sending them down this way. Open up the chance for this military force to move up this way. And as for you, just keep doing your thing. So that's going to be a pain over here, obviously, but there's nothing I can do about it now. We're just going to have to deal with these forces kind of a little bit at a time. Hopefully we can take them out. They are trying to starve me out. I can already see that being a problem. To get 500 food. Ooh, it's 1,500. All right, we'll hold off on that then. I have to wait for some forces to die off, I guess, before I can gather up any more food. There doesn't seem to be any more food locations on the map that I can see, which is a problem. But we are capturing a few up here, so that'll be good. Spy planes being built there. After that, let's get some wealth produced out of some of these cities, just so I can buy back some more food when the time is right. And the time will be right soon. Bangalore. Let's get you... Let's go for a satellite, see if I can get that. I've yet to really fully figure out what that does. I'd really like to get the satellite. Ooh, they've got some somewhat large missile launchers. All right, we've got the small force here that's sitting on this iron. Let's move them into here so they can do some healing. Moscow obviously needs to be recaptured. They came up behind me. Snuck up behind me. Santiago is going to be mine. And we're going back in for these cities. I got these troops here moving in. It's not a whole lot, but it honestly will probably be enough for me to capture these cities. Shouldn't be much of an issue. Do a little bit of bombing here. Shouldn't be a problem. There we go. Forces protecting Dali were destroyed almost instantly. We'll go for producing wealth. Boston's about to build a SAM vehicle, which is fine. Probably didn't really need it now, but let's get an Air Force base and nuclear power plant. That'll help with a couple of things. Moscow was recaptured. Nuclear power plant. Let's get a uranium refinery. I think we might start pumping out some... Well, actually not here. I should find some place with a high production value. Start considering some nuclear ICBMs. But let's just stick with a nuclear power plant for now. You can get an Air Force base. Let's see. Where's a good place to pump out a couple nuclear missiles? Start dealing with these ships maybe with some nuclear weaponry. Let's get a nuclear ICBM. I'm not entirely sure what the range is on that, but I'd imagine it's pretty intense. I would think so. Maybe not, but... Okay, as for this ship, I want you to go down to Sydney because I can already see a force is coming this way. to try to take you on. Manila's got me a destroyer class 4. Very good, because I'm actually going to use this as an opportunity to come back up this way, I think. Actually, better yet, I'm going to use this as an opportunity to come back down this way. Retake some of these massive food tiles that I lost. This force is going to march into Dali there. As for these 2 artillery pieces, I also want them to head down that way, meet up there, and then we'll form them all together and march them back down this way. I don't think troops coming through this mountain is going to be an issue anymore because I'm putting so much pressure on. Down here, they would just be absolutely crazy to do anything else. So we'll capture that and then go like this. As for you, you're going for the gold and then go straight for that fort there. Trying to wrap the game up here. Their Navy's still giving me a lot of issues, but other than that, I'm not doing too bad of a job here. Santiago should fall this turn. As well as Casablanca, which shall fall the next turn. I've almost got this spy plane completed. Let's get a uranium refinery, since Cairo's a pretty good place to build, and we can queue one of those up after it's built. I guess we'll have to wait. Dali is now mine. We'll get that to produce some wealth. Singapore, let's just get some wealth in Singapore after this Air Force base. Bendung here. Why don't you go for some artillery? Ooh, we're about to run out of food, actually, I just noticed. I should be able to buy enough. And Santiago, just get wealth. Alright, artillery, do your worst, or best preferably. Let's get some bombing going here. I want them to move just in the range to where they can do some bombing, nothing more than that. And then some of these tactical bombers here. Maybe if I could find a potential place to use them, I will. Let's bomb Salvador. Actually, you know what? Let's just bomb these. I need to get rid of some units anyways, because food is an issue right now. So let's just use these to bomb some of these locations here. I think that'll be more than enough. They're producing an Air Force base. It'll actually be done next turn, so let's fly to that city there. Or actually, let's have them wait a turn and then fly, just in case. I don't want them to get there and it's not actually constructed. I don't know when it's actually considered constructing, if it's at the end of your turn or what. As for this force, move down and capture that. Okay, now as for food. 1,500, really. Okay. Well, that's going to cost us 900. It's definitely a lot. I was wishing we'd get some more technologies for helping out with food and such, but it looks like that's not going to be the case. You know, I shouldn't own this much of the map and have a food issue. I understand that, like, naval and stuff has really hurt me this time around, but I just feel like when you own this much of a map and you own this many cities, that food just should not be an issue like it is for me. But I guess that's just how it goes. We are doing a lot of bombing with these naval ships, so that's going to be done with soon enough. Casablanca is now ours. We'll just have it produce wealth. Actually, go for a radar factory. Oh, radar factory. And then just produce wealth. I'm honestly trying to close up the battles here simply because I'm trying to beat the game before I run out of food. It's kind of a scary thing, but that's really the issue right now. Is I actually have to beat the game before I run out of food. Okay, where is my spy plane? Okay, I need you to figure out what is going on over here. And then artillery is doing all the bombing of these naval ships. They hopefully should be taken out within the next couple turns. I'm still holding these foods here, which is making me very happy. So I'm actually going to grab this destroyer here now that I've cleared up a lot of this stuff. And I'm going to come right through and I might as well actually nab this as well. But I'm mainly going for the food right now because food is a huge issue. I may go through and destroy some of these units that I don't think I need. Even though they are pretty seasoned veterans, I'd be really upset if if these units actually end up coming into play. Hopefully they won't, but I do need to go through and destroy a couple of these units. Let's make sure that there's nothing here. Nothing over here. I got the destroyer down there too. I can keep moving along, maybe find some more. Ooh, interesting. The map is fairly large down that way. What are we looking at here? Shanghai. Okay, Shanghai. Let's see. How about you just go for some wealth? Try to get that money boosting up as fast as possible so we can buy out some food. Once you're done with that, you're obviously just going to go for wealth. Lots of food down, or food. Lots of enemy units down there. In what is Surat? I can't imagine that the Canadians have any food right now. But crap, they captured that food source there. There is another destroyer here. Let's send him out to do a little bit of investigating. Let's fly these guys up to Pagoda here, which should have an airbase. And have them in the area to potentially do some work. Sydney, you have artillery. That could be useful. Maybe in Moscow. So we get them down to Moscow there. Not Moscow, but Moscow. I know how to pronounce that, I promise. I was just being classy. Saying it in a classy tone. Okay. This unit here, I'm going to split them off that way and send this group down to Salvador. As for this unit here, capture this iron. And this unit here, I want you to go over and capture that iron and destroyer. Let's keep moving that way. Oh man, this is getting nerve-wracking because I'm getting so close to running out of food and not having enough money to buy more. Even though I've got almost $200 coming in a turn, it's so frustrating to know that I'm going to have to min-max my food to take care of myself, because it's the one thing I'm suffering on. I do know I have a pretty large military, and that is a lot of the reason. We'll actually stop that artillery unit there and just start producing wealth here for a little bit. I know that is a lot of the reason, but I need this artillery or this military force if I'm going to capture any of these cities here. So Salvador is now ours. I'll get a radar there. And I don't really feel like, I don't think I'm going to produce anything else here. That does help save oil consumption, so I'll get that, and then we'll just go for wealth. Okay, that destroyer is going to capture that food, which is good, but our other destroyer was blown up, which is more than frustrating. I'm going to send these guys out on a nice patrol here. We're going to try to find ourselves some enemy ships. This destroyer is coming down here to capture those food, which is going to be very useful. And then we have to get another destroyer class 4 here in 1.5 turns. I'm going to send him up to capture this stuff here. And he's going to go like this. And I'm going to try to use the bombers to potentially protect this unit. And we'll find out if that comes into play or not. And then hopefully this destroyer will stumble across some more food, which would be very useful indeed. As for the spy plane, let's go like that. It's kind of rough, but okay. Santiago's got a pretty large force. Why don't we march them? Actually, let's hold off and see what the spy plane uncovers over there, and then we'll decide where to march them. I got lots of units marching up from Surat here, as you can see. Okay, Pagoda, obviously, just get you to produce some wealth here. Okay, there's definitely some enemies here, so let's go like this, do a little bit more bombing. Trying to keep him out of danger. Capturing these food sources here. This will also help tremendously if I come down here and capture those like so. Getting some oil here. Capture that. I want you to sit on that for a second. I want this unit to come up this way. I know there's a pretty large city there with missiles, so I'm actually going to keep this unit sitting on this iron mine here, because if this unit gets obliterated by all these missiles and everything, I want this unit to be able to move in after the missiles have been used up and be able to capture those forces. As for this unit here, could potentially disband them, as I don't see them reaching anything useful in time. I'll move them up to this fort here. That's kind of useless. You know what? Actually, just disband this entire unit. Can I go through? I have to go through and individually set these units up to be disbanded. I'm going to disband this entire unit. That'll save me. They're not really that veteran anyways, and that'll save me a lot on food. Alright, so we're moving up, and holy crap, lots of freaking missiles fired out of that at me, which I expected. I was expecting that. Food is about to drop off on us there. That is going to be painful when it does happen. However, it looks like we've uncovered a lot with our spy plane. I see some food creeping up here on the sides. Very good, but it looks like other than that, we may actually not have any enemy ships out there. And we are kind of starting to balance the food situation a little bit. This destroyer is going to capture this food here. Manila has a destroyer out there for us. So we're going to take this destroyer actually and come up here and capture all of this. And as for this destroyer, he's doing the best he can do. I see that I do see that the food kind of creeps off on the sides here, as you can see, like this one. So I am going to try to hit up the side here and definitely make sure that I don't miss anything that's important. I'm pretty sure Nagoya fired pretty much everything it possibly could. I'm moving an entire massive force in there, and I don't think it's going to be an issue. So let's move this force out this way, and the Salvador force will come down here to Nagoya and join up with these troops there. As for the small unit of 4 guys I've got sitting on this iron, let's just keep them there. I've got a massive group of artillery here. Actually, you know what? I was going to do something with this artillery, but I changed my mind. Let's move this artillery to this fort here. With the range they have on them, they should be able to kind of bomb some of these units in the forest, which will be pretty nice. And then this force here will send on down to this iron. As for these guys, definitely need you all to move in and do some damage on this last naval unit there. And then I got a class 5 destroyer. Let's see. Let's send the spy plane down here and do a little bit of work. And then we'll see what's in the store for us there. Now, as for food, we definitely can't be out of food. So I might have to buy us a few more turns. 600, that is a lot. However, I'm going to sell back 1,000 iron for 1,000 there. And maybe even 200 oil if it's worth enough. Well, it's only a 1-for-1. That's fine, though. We'll keep it like that. Buys me 2 turns. Okay, destroyed their navy there, and there's another naval ship coming out. Singapore is about to finish a satellite. Once it does that, I want Singapore to produce some wealth. Nagoya here should be falling shortly. We've got a fairly large force outside of it, knocking on their door, ready to capture these units. Moving this unit down this way. As for the destroyer, he's just going to keep coming up this way, see what's going on. This group of 4 here will take out that tank. Move these guys down that way. 2 artillery pieces in Bandung should not be an issue. You know what, though? I'll take them, and I'll send them down here to this iron mine. And then they can potentially join up with that group, if at all possible. I've got 3 artillery pieces here with a good enough range that they can kind of cover this forest here. So I'm going to send these units down into this crossway here, because we're going to try to take out Surat, which has a production of 22, but it looks like it's sitting pretty heavy on units. We're going to go for Athens. Athens needs to fall. This ship looks like it's going to engage that submarine. I can only hope that he has no issues with that. Why don't we send a unit down there to do a bombing run as well? They're still recapturing our food. You know what, actually? Let me see these bombers. How do I get you? If I want you guys to do some sentry work. What's sentry mean? Are you gonna... I want these guys to do some bombing here, but I don't... Yeah, I definitely want to do some bombing. Can I make sure these guys bomb? Like that? Will they do it? Will they bomb themselves if those boats are over there? Maybe I'm just missing the hotkey to do that. Okay, supposedly there's not a boat. Okay, that must be what it is. I'm not being able to get the bombing done because there's probably submarines, and I can't really handle submarines. Okay, let's get you to produce wealth. Food is about to be an issue again, but I've got plenty of money now to buy food. Athens has fallen, so let's get a radar, Air Force base, and then produce wealth. Nagoya is now ours. Air Force base, radar, produce wealth. And as for the force, oop, my cursor there was locked. As for the force there that captured Nagoya. All of you pull up in there so I can form you into one big unit. And you can also heal up a little bit. This force that's fairly large here, let's keep moving this way. As for these units here, all of you meet on the iron mine. I want to form you up all together. And then you're about to produce another piece of artillery. I'm not that worried about that. Let's actually get you to head up to this iron mine here. I've got a fairly large force moving into this city, but as you can see, holy crap, is there a lot of missiles and planes. I'm probably going to get hit pretty hard there, but 'tis the nature of the battle. Let's see if we can move those guys close to that submarine, do a little bit of damage there. How the hell did you miss this food, you freaking idiot? Okay. Head off and up over this way. As for this unit here, it's submarines that we're looking for at this point. I've come to the conclusion that submarines are what are doing most of the damage. Let's fly on down to Shenyang here, and then we'll hopefully get in range to do some other things. We'll buy ourselves 500 food. We should be able to afford it, and we can. Definitely min-maxing our food here, and we are out of time for this episode. So next episode should easily see the end of this series and the destruction of the Canadians. There's not much left. They do own most of the water tiles here, but I believe I only need to capture all of their cities to end the game, and I imagine that they only have maybe 2 or 3 more cities down here before it's over. So I do hope you guys enjoyed this episode, and I look forward to seeing you next time.